Hi, I'm Nick, and welcome to the Fusion Space for a special Halloween episode of Storytime, Batman Arkham Asylum. Published in 1989 and written by Grant Morrison, easily their most remarkable thing about this book is the artwork by Sandman cover artist Dave McKean, whose Sandman covers were so brilliant they merited a book of their very own. He specialized in using other media along with drawing and painting to compose images, as you'll see in the bookends of this piece, and his wonderful painting fills the interior. The inmates have taken over the asylum, and Bruce is forced to enter in exchange for the release of the final hostages. His presence is their final demand. Inside, he must face not only the demons Gotham has created in his rogues gallery, but also his own inner demons, and his fear that he might indeed belong there. Also woven in is the story of Amadeus Arkham, the institution's founder, and his own descent into madness, until both tales collide in the present, and Batman stands against the madness stretching back into the decades, and seemingly ground into the brickwork itself. The artwork was altered and cleaned up by Dave himself for the 20th anniversary edition, and if you buy that, it does come with a great amount of extra material, such as the complete script and several pages of layouts and sketches. Personally, though, I'm partial to the look of the 1989 original, as that's the copy I've always had, and so that's the copy I'll be using here. But if you find some of the text difficult to read, know that the 20th anniversary edition's text is a bit clearer. The Passion Play, as it is played today. Now here's the first McKean mixed media piece, and also Grant informs us of the theme of our play. With long iron nails and the asylum's shape being that of a cross, Grant isn't being subtle. Keep an eye out for the symbolic meaning of pretty much everything in the story and how it parallels the crucifixion narrative. Grant was still relatively new to DC and American comics. They weren't shy about making an impression. Still, I don't think Grant was trying to say so much that Batman is Jesus, so much as that he will undergo a similar trial here. Ikarion Cetris, Icon. Now this second piece reinforces the theme in a more minimalist way, simply the icon of a bat represented by its skeleton, as if the icon itself were the core of the being rather than the human consciousness wrapped around it. The X symbol of a cross, a drawn square representing the asylum, and a stone scored with a grid, I believe representing the concept of order. I'm no art expert, though, and you should not take my interpretation as final or correct if you have another. These are just mood setters in any case. Arkham Asylum, a serious house on serious earth. Now this image of a deconstructed watch caught in a web of strings hovering over the abyss beyond a sheet of rusted metal seems meant to evoke the mind of Amadeus Arkham to me. Tightly wound and ordered, but running down, falling apart, barely held in stasis above the abyss of madness. See if you agree after hearing the story. A serious house on serious earth it is, in whose blent air all our compulsions meet, are recognized, and robed as destinies. Philip Larkin, Church-Going. Now, this quote is only found in the 20th anniversary edition, but I'm including it because it's where our title comes from. The next quote page alone let off the 89 version. However, upon hearing it, it's hard to imagine a more apt description of Arkham Asylum. Also, the source is fitting, as I believe the religious allegory is here to represent order, while our next page...
"But I don't want to go among mad people,"
Alice remarked.
"Oh, you can't help that," said the cat. "We're all mad here. I'm mad. You're mad." "How do you know I'm mad?"
said Alice.
"You must be," said the cat, "or you wouldn't have come here."
Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Along with the religious allegory, the Wonderland references will persist throughout. I think this influence is here to represent madness and chaos, which are in conflict with order in the book, as they are in most every Batman story, to some degree. Alright, enough analysis. On with the show. From the Journals of Amadeus Arkham.
In the years following my father's death, I think it's true to say that the house became my whole world. During the long period of Mother's illness, the house often seemed so vast, so confidently real, that by comparison, I felt little more than a ghost haunting its corridors, scarcely aware that anything could exist beyond those melancholy walls. Until the night in 1901, when I first caught a glimpse of that other world. The world on the dark side. As a child, Amadeus Arkham ascends a long, narrow staircase to bring his mother some food. "Mother? Mother? It's me. I brought you something to eat." Please, I think you should try to eat some of this. Eaten. As his mother opens her lips to speak, from between them come a rain of beetles. I've eaten. I've eaten. That was the moment when I first felt truly alone. The tray of food falls to the floor. Many years later, when I became aware of the significance of the beetle as a symbol of rebirth, I realized she was simply trying to protect herself from something, in the only way that made sense to her. But even then, I think I understood that Mother had been born again, into that other world, a world of fathomless signs and portents, of magic and terror, and mysterious symbols. The bat signal shines through the gloom of the stormy Gotham night. Sorry I'm late, Commissioner. Problems out of town. What's up?
There's been a riot at Arkham Asylum. That's what's up. The inmates seized control of the building early this morning. We don't know how it happened. They're holding the asylum staff hostage, making all kinds of crazy demands. We've had to send in furniture, store dummies, food, clothing. And they say there's only one final demand, thank God. They've been waiting to talk to you, personally.
I see.
It's the Joker. Gordon points to a phone. The date is April 1st.
Joker, are you there? What do you want?
Well, hello, big boy. How's it hanging?
Don't waste my time, Joker. Just tell me what it is you want.
Oh, I think you can guess. We want you in here with us, in the madhouse, where you belong.
And what if I say no?
Well, we have so many friends here, sweetheart. Say hello to Pearl. Oh, Bat, oh. Such a crybaby, isn't she?
What's that noise? Can you hear it? Scratching. What's he doing?
Pearl is 19 years old. She just started work in the kitchens here to earn some extra money. Pearl wants to be an artist. Don't you, Pearl, darling? She just drew me a beautiful house. She drew it with his pencil. The one I've just sharpened. Open your eyes wide, Pearl. Beautiful. Blue. Oh.
Jesus, no!
You have half an hour. And bring a white stick.
No. No! Oh, Jesus. That poor girl. Batman, I'm going in there. Jim, can we talk?
You okay? You know, you don't have to go in there. Let me organize a SWAT team or something.
No. This is something I do have to do.
Listen, I can understand it if even you're afraid. I mean, Arkham has a reputation.
Afraid? Batman's not afraid of anything. It's me. I'm afraid. I'm afraid that the Joker may be right about me. Sometimes I question the rationality of my actions. And I'm afraid that when I walk through those asylum gates, when I walk into Arkham and the doors close behind me, it'll be just like coming home.
I returned to the family home on a cool spring morning in 1920, shortly after Mother's funeral. She opened her own throat with a pearl-handled razor. In the end, perhaps it was for the best. I have to believe that. As the only child, I am to inherit the house and the acre of land upon which it stands. Alone in a gloom that smells of dust and childhood, I dedicate myself to the prevention of such suffering as my poor mother knew, and I begin to make my plans. For the first time in 12 years, I spend the night in my old room.
I do not sleep well. My dreams are haunted by beating wings. And outside, far off, a dog barks on and on through the whole restless night. Next day I returned to Metropolis, where my family and I had been living for some time. I'm working at the State Psychiatric Hospital. One of my patients today has been referred to me from Metropolis Penitentiary. His name is Martin Hawkins. Mad Dog Hawkins. I listen as he tells me how he was beaten and sexually abused by his father. I ask him why he chose to destroy only the faces and sexual organs of his victims. It was the Virgin Mary's idea. She says it's the best way to stop the dirty sluts spreading their disease. And I ask him why he cuts his arms with a razor. Just to feel something. After 2 hours, he is taken back to the penitentiary to await trial. How many more like him must there be? Men whose only real crime is mental illness, trapped in the penal system with no hope of treatment. My course is clear. I tell my dear Constance and little Harriet that we will shortly be returning to my family home in Gotham City, there to begin its conversion into a facility for the treatment of the mentally ill. That night, I dream I am a child again. Lost in a fun house, I find myself in the Hall of Mirrors. There are strangers in the mirrors, and I freeze, not daring to go any further. Not through that door. At last, my father comes looking for me. I beg him not to take me into the tunnel of love. We return by the way we entered. That night, I dream that the mirror people have escaped from the glass and come looking for me. I wake, sweating, an adult. And for a moment, just a moment, I feel as though I'm back, where I belong, back in the old house.
As Batman enters the asylum grounds, he passes over a line of white powder. As Batman approaches the massive, darkened building, he is greeted by the Joker.
It's salt. Why don't you sprinkle some on me, honey? Aren't I just good enough to eat?
I'm here, Joker. Release the hostages.
You heard him, folks. Hit the trail. Bye, Pearl. Let's do it again sometime.
As the final hostages leave, Batman sees that Pearl is unharmed.
But what about her eyes? You said.
April Fool! Cheer up, honey pie. Listen, how many brittle bone babies does it take to...
Shut up.
Ooh, at home to Mr. Tetchy, are we? Loosen up, tight ass.
Take your filthy hands off me.
What's the matter? Have I touched a nerve? How's the boy Wonder? Started shaving yet?
Filthy degenerate.
Flattery will get you nowhere. You're in the real world now, and the lunatics have taken over the asylum. April Sweet is coming in. Let the feast of fools begin.
A morbid tableau awaits him. Arkham's rogues feast and shout inanities, while a desiccated body attached to the chandelier slowly twirls in the darkness above them.
Millions of Robin dirt everywhere. Christ,
I'm
look at it.
dirt. Grant shivery atoms, and God, the sky whirls and withers like a melting rainbow.
Strength and pity. Well, the boy's best friend is his mother.
Joker, I've had enough of this madness.
Enough madness? Enough? And how do you measure madness? Not with rods and wheels and clocks, surely. You know, you look so pretty when you're mad. Kiss me, Charlie. Ravish me. But no tongues, you hear? Not on our first date.
I'm warning you.
You're in no position to issue warnings, Charlie. Not with your guilty secret. Now sit down and stay down before I think of something funny to do with you.
Who are these people, Joker? You told me to release all the hostages.
Well, we insisted on staying, Batman. I'm Ruth Adams. I'm a psychotherapist here. And this is dear old Doc Cavendish, our current administrator. A man who just loves to administer current to ECT patients.
I have a duty to the state. I will not leave this asylum in the hands of madmen.
And while we're discussing duty, it looks like someone just done theirs on the floor. Oh, Jesus, Harvey, is it you again? You trying to ruin my heels?
Two-Face sits shivering with a deck of cards.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. It takes so long to decide. So many options. I'm really sorry. I think. Please, miss? Two-Face has pissed himself again.
Two-Face?
Excuse me, Batman, but we'd really prefer it if you call Harvey Dent by his real name.
What have you done to him?
Done? He's being cured. This place is a hospital, Batman, and we're here to treat people, in case you'd forgotten. As a matter of fact, we've successfully tackled Harvey's obsession with duality. I'm sure you're familiar with his silver dollar, scarred on one side, unmarked on the other. He used to make all his decisions with it, as though it somehow represented the contradictory halves of his personality. What we did was wean him off the coin and onto a die. That gave him 6 decision options, instead of the former 2. He did so well with the die, we've been able to move him on to a pack of tarot cards. That's 78 options open to him now, Batman. Next, we plan to introduce him to the I Ching. Soon, he'll have a completely functional judgmental facility that doesn't rely so much on black and white absolutes.
But right now he can't even make a simple decision like going to the bathroom without consulting the cards? Seems to me you've effectively destroyed the man's personality, Doctor.
Well, sometimes we have to pull down in order to rebuild, Batman. Psychiatry's like that.
You must admit it's hard to imagine this place being conducive to anyone's mental health.
You're going to hit me with all the local folklore now, right? Secret passages, the ghost of mad Amadeus Arkham, the door that's supposed to bleed. Gothic crap.
Well, you'll pardon me for saying so, but your techniques don't seem to have had much effect on the Joker.
The Joker's a special case. Some of us feel he may be beyond treatment. In fact, we're not even sure if he can be properly defined as insane. His latest claim is that he's possessed by Baron Gayday, the voodoo Loa. We're beginning to think it may be a neurological disorder similar to Tourette's syndrome. It's quite possible we may actually be looking at some kind of super sanity here. A brilliant new modification of human perception, more suited to urban life at the end of the 20th century.
Tell that to his victims.
Unlike you and I, the Joker seems to have no control over the sensory information he's receiving from the outside world. He can only cope with that chaotic barrage of input by going with the flow. And that's why some days he's a mischievous clown, others he's a psychopathic killer. He has no real personality. He creates himself each day. He sees himself as the lord of misrule, and the world as the theater of the absurd. Card games, Dr. Ruth? You know me, I just adore card games. Well, I see 2 angels crewing in the stratosphere, a constellation of black holes, a biological process beyond the conception of man, a Jewish ventriloquist act locked in the trunk of a red Chevrolet. And what about you, Batman? What do you see?
Joker shows Batman an ink blot. Batman sees a huge bat screeching in an abyss of darkness, a darkness as black as the human heart. Nothing. I don't see anything.
Not even a cute little long-legged boy in swimming trunks?
Stop wasting time, you ugly prancing bastard. Well, he has ours too, you know. That, if you don't mind.
I say we take off his mask. I want to see his real face.
Oh, don't be so predictable, for Christ's sake. That is his real face. And I want to go much deeper than that. I want him to know what it's like to have sticky fingers pick through the dirty corners of his mind. So let's start with a word association test, shall we? Ruthie?
I don't really want to do this.
Go ahead, Dr. Adams. I'm not afraid. It's just words.
That's the spirit, Batman. Sticks and stones. I like a man who can take the pressure.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. Just as the archangel subdued the old dragon, so shall I bend this house to my will. I will bring light to those dismal corridors of my childhood. I will open up the locked doors and fill the empty rooms, and set above it all an image of the triumph of reason over the irrational. As Amadeus Arkham has his childhood home retrofitted into an asylum, he has a huge statue of Michael the Archangel battling a serpent with a giant spear erected atop it. Harriet is plagued by nightmares. I blame Lewis Carroll, but she will insist on reading and rereading the books. Perhaps things will settle when this work of the house is finished. Perhaps. Amadeus finds the Joker playing card. One of the workmen must have dropped it.
Mother.
Pearl.
Handle.
Revolver.
Gun.
Father.
Father.
Death.
End.
Stop. Stop. I arrive home in time for Christmas and find the conversion of the house to be well underway. Constance surprises me with a wonderful addition to my aquarium. Japanese clownfish are a fascinating species. When a dominant female dies, one of the males in her entourage will actually change sex and assume her former role. For some reason I am reminded of the French name for the victim of an April Fool prank. Poisson d'avril, April fish. I experience an inexplicable frisson of déjà vu. And then the telephone rings.
Ding!
It transpires that Martin Hawkins has escaped from the penitentiary, and the police would like my considered opinion as to his state of mind. I tell him he may be highly dangerous, and I leave him to it. It's not my problem. Not tonight.
Something wrong?
No, it's nothing. Nothing at all. Harriet is enchanted by the cuckoo clock I have brought her from Switzerland. I pray that it might take her mind from the bad dreams. And then I remind myself that all intelligent children suffer bad dreams. And she is so very intelligent. And perfectly beautiful. I almost wish she need never grow up.
It's getting late. Time to begin the evening's entertainment, I think, if you're feeling up to it.
Up to what?
A nice little game of hide and seek. You'll have 1 hour, sweetheart, and there's no way out of the building. 1 hour before all your friends come looking for you. There's the Scarecrow and Mr. Clayface, and the strange Dr. Destiny, of course. He seems so frail in that wheelchair, but all he has to do is look at you and you stop being real. He does so want to look at you, darling. Oh, and don't let's forget Croc. He came up out of that damp, dark cellar this morning, dragging in chains behind him. They all want to see you, so why don't you just run along now?
I don't take orders from you.
Well, this guy goes into the hospital, okay? His wife's just had a baby, and he can't wait to see them both. So he meets the doctor, and he says, "Oh, Doc, I've been so worried. How are they?" And the doctor smiles and says, "They're fine, just fine. Your wife's delivered a healthy baby boy. They're both in tip-top form. You're one lucky guy." So the guy rushes into the maternity ward with his flowers. But it's empty. His wife's bed is empty. "Doc," he says, and turns around. And the doctor and all the nurses wave their arms and scream in his face.
The Joker puts his gun to a policeman's head.
"April Fool! Your wife's dead, and the baby's a spastic!"
He pulls the trigger.
Get it? Oh, what a senseless waste of human life. Now, Batman.
He aims the gun at Ruth.
Run. The game ends at midnight. Run! Run!
The Waynes leave the Majestic Theater in the showing of Zorro, headed down Park Row. What will one day be known as Crime Alley. How dare you embarrass me that way, Bruce?
It's only a movie, for God's sake. It's not real.
Bruce, I'm warning you.
If you don't stop crying and act like a grown-up, I'm leaving you right here. Understand? I'm leaving you right here.
Batman punches a mirror.
Leaving you.
The gunman shoots Thomas Wayne.
Right here.
Batman takes a shard of glass.
Right.
The gunman hooks the hammer of his gun against Martha Wayne's pearls.
Here.
Batman drives a shard of glass through his palm.
Urgh!
The glass comes through the other side. Drops of blood fall to the ground like pearls.
Jesus.
He refocuses on the present. Blood runs down the shard of glass, forming a pool on the ground.
Mommy? Mother! Oh God! Mother! Blood! Blood!
I say we go after him now.
Listen, we promised him an hour. He's only been gone 10 minutes.
This is ridiculous. What do you think, Dent? The moon, so beautiful. What? It's a big silver dollar, flipped by God, and it landed scarred side up, see? So he made the world. Jesus Christ, can't I get a decent conversation in this place? You're all insane. Dent has built a house of cards with his tarot deck. The Hatter tugs on Joker's coat.
Joker, we're bored. Oh, all right then. Let's just pretend it's been an hour.
Spring is a deceitful season, and April 1st, 1921 is cold. Mercilessly cold. Connie? Did you know the front door was wide open? Connie, are you in? Amadeus Arkham ascends the stairs. I see my wife first, my dear Constance. Her body's in pieces. Harriet lies nearby, indescribably violated. Almost idly, I wonder where her head is. And then I look at the doll's house. And the doll's house looks at
Bing, cuckoo,
me.
bing, cuckoo.
Slowly, methodically, I put on Mother's wedding dress and I kneel down. I kneel down in that nursery abattoir. It all seems perfectly rational. Perfectly rational. Later, I find myself sobbing, choking, retching into the lavatory bowl. Is this what it all comes down to? All our dreams and hopes and aspirations? Nothing but vomit. Oh God, I'm afraid. I'm so afraid. I think I may be ill. Dr. Destiny wheels himself through the darkened hallways looking for Batman. Clayface? Clayface, where are you? Don't answer me then, you dirty, rotten bastard. I don't need you. I can easily find someone else to push me. No! Batman kicks his wheelchair down a flight of stairs. No! At the bottom, Destiny's consciousness leaves his body. The Scarecrow drags his pitchfork across the floor as he searches for Batman. But he does not find him. Batman finds a long message scratched and scrawled into what once must have been a cell floor. My God. Eventually he finds his way to the Mad Hatter.
Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at. I'm so glad you could make it. I have so many things to tell you. You must be feeling quite fragile by now, I expect. This house, it does things to the mind. Now, where was I? Where am I? Where will I be? Ah, yes. The apparent disorder of the universe is simply a higher order, an implicate order, beyond our comprehension. That's why children interest me. They're all mad, you see, but in each of them is an implicate adult, order out of chaos. Or is it the other way around?
To know them is to know myself. Little girls especially. Little blonde girls. Little shameless bitches. Oh, God. God, help us all. Sometimes I think the asylum is a head. We're inside a huge head that dreams us all into being. Perhaps it's your head, Batman. Arkham is a looking glass, and we are you.
Batman takes his leave of the Mad Hatter.
In spite of everything, the Elizabeth Arkham Asylum for the Criminally Insane opens its doors officially on schedule in November 1921. One of my first patients is Martin Hawkins. Mad dog. He delights in recounting to me every detail of the atrocities he inflicted upon Constance and Harriet. He giggles and drools and tells me they begged him to abuse them. He calls my daughter a whore. And I listen. I treat him for 6 months. I am praised for my courage and compassion. And on April 1st, 1922, 1 year to the day, I strap him into the electroshock couch, and I burn the filthy bastard. It is treated as an accident. These things happen. There is ozone and the smell of burned skin in my nostrils. But I feel nothing. I take to patrolling the corridors between the hours of 3 and 4 in the morning. I visit the secret room often, in order that I might keep my journal up to date. Routine is important, I think. A good routine diverts the mind from morbid imaginings. Sometimes I am sure I hear hysterical laughter from a cell I know to be empty. I tape over the mirror in my study. The laughter ceases, and I return to my ritual perambulations. My movements through the house have become as formalized as ballet, and I feel that I have become an essential part of some incomprehensible biological process. The house is an organism, hungry for madness. It is a maze that dreams, and I am lost.
Batman finds Maxie Zeus, who believes he is the modern incarnation of the Greek god. His naked body is connected to wires and a machine filling him with electricity.
Ah, a pilgrim. Come into my presence, pilgrim. Gaze upon the Lord thy God. Or, please, do it again. Zeus Anelotheus, part man, part woman. Electricity inflames my brain. Voltage, current, the fire of heaven. Look here, I've saved it all. There's power in it, you see. He shows Batman a bucket filled with his own feces and swarming with flies. Electricity. Gift of my body, divine, fertile. It shall transform the dry lands of Africa into the perfumed orchards of paradise, and men will worship me anew. For I am Zeus, Lord of ECT, God of electric retribution. I give so that thou shouldst give. Here, my gift to you. He plunges his hand into the bucket. Do you want power? I can give you power. Eat, drink. This is my body. This is my blood. The AC/DC altar awaits. Let me know you in the form of a shower of sparks. He stretches his arms out to Batman, who leaves him in his own little private reality. Wait! Shocked by my ill health, some friends take me to the opera. Wagner's Parsifal. Don't they understand? Can't they see I'm breaking in 1,000 places? Time becomes Strange. 40 minutes have passed since I ingested 3 portions of the amanita mushroom. So far, no effect. Abruptly, I become convinced that the house is alive and trying to communicate with me. A pressure at the back of my head makes me turn. In their tiny, contained universes, 2 vast and shimmering clownfish glide toward one another and make the sign of Pisces. Pisces, the astrological attribution of the moon card in the tarot pack, the symbol of trial and initiation, death and rebirth. I have been shown the path.
Batman finds a trail of blood.
I must follow where it leads. Like Parsifal, I must confront the unreason that threatens me. I must go alone into the dark tower, without a backward glance, and face the dragon within.
Batman finds Killer Croc.
I have only one fear.
Croc slashes Batman with his claws.
What if I am not strong enough to defeat it? What then?
Croc slashes Batman again and again.
The drug takes hold. I feel small and afraid. Perhaps I've done the wrong thing. Somewhere, not far away, the dragon hauls its terrible weight through the corridors of the asylum. I am borne up on a wave of perfect terror.
Croc lifts Batman high above his reptilian head.
And the world explodes.
Batman crashes out the window of the tower as lightning crashes in the storm.
There is nothing to hold on to. No anchor.
Batman grabs a ledge.
Panic-stricken, I flee. I run blindly through the madhouse.
He hauls himself up.
And I cannot even pray, for I have no God.
Batman finds the statue of Michael fighting the great dragon. He takes Michael's giant spear. The dragon stalks the darkness of the tower.
Doors open and close, applauding my flight. Keyholes bleed. A choir of sexually maimed children sings my name over and over again. Arkham, Arkham, Arkham.
Croc glimpses a bat shape in the window. Batman crashes in through a high window.
I'm falling.
He slams the spear across Croc's head as he falls.
Oh, mother, what tree is this?
Batman lands and lunges at Croc with the spear. The spear pierces Croc's midsection.
What wounds are these?
He moves forward, and the other end of the spear pierces Batman's side.
I am Attis on the pine, Christ on the cedar, Odin on the world ash.
Batman and Croc both stand impaled on the spear.
Hung on the windy tree for 9 whole nights, wounded with the spear, dedicated to Odin. Myself to myself. I must see my reflection to prove I still exist. Outside I hear the dragon coming closer, closer. Desperately I peel the tape from the mirror, breaking my fingernails strip by strip.
Batman and Croc break the spear in the middle.
Until I stand revealed in the glass, and I stare into old, familiar eyes. Mother!
Croc stumbles backwards and falls out a glass window.
I must have fainted then, for it is morning when I next open my eyes, no longer able to tell where the dragon ended, and I begin.
Batman pulls the spear from his side.
Yet, am I not the hero, the man of destiny? Have I not confronted the great dragon? Where then is my grail, my treasure hoard, my final reward?
Returning to the main hall, Batman finds that Dr. Cavendish is holding Ruth hostage with a straight razor at her throat.
Good evening, Batman. Dr. Cavendish.
Don't come near him, Batman. He cut me.
Just keep back.
You freed the inmates. You allowed this to happen. Why, Cavendish? Now listen, I only did what had to be done. You read the book on the table beside you, and you'll see. Go on. It's Amadeus Arkham's journal. Go on, read it. I marked the place for you. Read it. You'll see.
And suddenly, the longed-for revelation comes, in the form of a memory my mind had suppressed. It is 1920. Trees thrash in the dark under a restless sky. Rain rattles the windows. Why? Why have I come here?
It's here! It's here!
Mother, please, there's nothing. And why am I so afraid?
Every night! Every night!
Beneath the bed, great wings begin to beat. I am not mad.
See? There! It's company!
I am not mad.
Amadeus Arkham sees a huge, dark shape in his mother's room.
But God help me, I see it. I see the thing that has haunted and tormented my poor mother these long years. I see it, and it is a bat. A bat! Oh, my poor mother.
Don't let it take me! Please don't let it!
It won't take you, I promise. Don't be afraid, Mother.
Amadeus raises his mother's pearl-handled razor high in the air.
I love you.
Amadeus Arkham slits his mother's throat with her own razor.
I understand now what my memory tried to keep from me. Madness is born in the blood. It is my birthright, my inheritance, my destiny. I shall contain the presences that roam these rooms and narrow stairways. I shall surround them with bars and walls and electrified fences and pray they never break free. I am the dragon's bride, the son of the widow.
Amadeus puts on his mother's dress and begins to walk the halls.
Leather wings enfold me. You see now? You understand? You who've kept this place supplied with poor mad souls for years. You who fed this hungry house. Do you see? You are the bat! No. I'm just a man. I'm not fooled by that cheap disguise. I know what you are. Arkham tried to kill his stockbroker in 1929. That's what they finally locked him away for. Did you know that? It didn't stop him. He'd read the Golden Bough. He'd studied shamanistic practices, and he knew that only ritual, only magic, could contain the bat. So you know what he did? He scratched a binding spell into the floor of his cell. He used his fingernails. Can you imagine that? His fingernails. It took years. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? I see now the virtue in madness, for this country knows no law, nor any boundary. I pity the poor shades confined to the Euclidean prison that is sanity. All things are possible here, and I am what madness has made me. Whole, and complete, and free at last. Finished. It's finished.
Get someone up here, quickly! Oh, his hands! Who is this man, Doctor?
I'm Arkham. I'm home, where I belong.
Amadeus Arkham dies in his cell, an old man, forgotten even by those who run his institution, consumed by his madness, or perhaps freed by it.
He gave everything. Everything. But it still wasn't enough. 2 years ago, I found this hidden room. Read the journal then, too. I just couldn't stop thinking about what Arkham had said. And I realized it was my destiny to finish what he started. I set a trap for the bat, you see. I surrounded the asylum with a circle of salt so it couldn't escape again. And now, well...
Dr. Cavendish! Charles!
Shut up, you ignorant cow!
Cavendish throws Ruth aside.
Cavendish, you're sick. You need help. I'm sick? Have you looked in the mirror lately? Have you?
He lunges at Batman with the razor.
Cavendish, no! Jesus!
Batman blocks his arm and the blade flies away.
Ching!
Cavendish falls on Batman and they struggle together.
Mommy's... boy! Mommy's boy!
No.
Mommy's boy! Mommy's boy! Help me!
Cavendish chokes the weakened hero as he calls out to Ruth.
For God's sake, do something!
No!
Ruth pulls back Dr. Cavendish's head and slits his throat with the razor.
Mommy!
No! Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Ruth drops the bloody razor.
Ching. Oh, God. His throat.
He got what he deserved. Come on.
I didn't mean to. I really didn't.
I take it this passage is the way out?
Yes. Yes, it must be. I think it's this way. This way out.
I know. Do you still have Two-Face's coin?
Yes, Oh, Christ. I just killed someone.
Just give me the coin.
You're going back in, aren't you? You're going to undo all my work.
Ruth hands Batman Two-Face's scarred coin.
What are you?
Stronger than them. Stronger than this place. I have to show them.
That's insane.
Exactly. Arkham was right. Sometimes it's only madness that makes us what we are. Or destiny, perhaps.
Batman takes an axe and begins chopping down the barricade at the main door.
The bat! It's the bat! The bat's destroying everything! You should never have allowed him in here, Joker. He's too dangerous.
That's right. Blame me. Go on.
Batman kicks down the door. He drops the axe at Joker's feet.
You're free. You're all free.
Oh, we know that already. But what about you? Have you come to claim your kingly robes?
Joker shows Batman a straitjacket.
Or do you just want us to put you out of your misery, like the poor, sick creature you are?
Why don't we let Two-Face decide what to do with me?
Me? No, I can't. Really,
Hobby? Brilliant!
Batman throws Two-Face's coin.
If the unmarked face comes up, he goes free. If it's a scarred face, he dies here. Okay?
The inhabitants of the asylum all agree to abide by the coin's ruling. Harvey flips his coin and it spins up in the air. Lightning strikes at its apex. It falls back into his palm.
He goes free.
Joker walks Batman back to the open gate.
Parting is such sweet sorrow, dearest. Still, you can't say we didn't show you a good time. Enjoy yourself out there. In the asylum. Just don't forget, if it ever gets too tough, there's always a place for you here.
Harvey opens his hand to reveal the coin's scarred face, then addresses the house of cards he built earlier.
Who cares for you? You're nothing but a pack of cards.
With a wave of his hand, he scatters them.
And is it not a mother's gentle hand that withdraws your curtains, and a mother's sweet voice that summons you to rise and forget in the bright sunlight the ugly dreams that frightened you so when all was dark? Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Personality profiles. Batman. Criminals. Criminals are a terror. Hearts of the night. I must disguise my terror. Criminals are cowardly, a superstitious, terrible omen, a cowardly lot. My disguise must strike terror. I must be black, terrible. Criminals are. Criminals are a superstitious, cowardly lot. I must be a creature. I must be a creature of the night. Mommy's dead. Daddy's dead. Brucey's dead. I shall become a bat.
Joker. And who is this pure foil? Lo, in the sagas of old-time legends of scars, bards, or druids, cometh he not green like spring? O thou water that art air, in whom all complex is resolved! Oh yes, fill the churches with dirty thoughts, introduce honesty to the White House, write letters in dead languages to people you've never met, paint filthy words on the foreheads of children, burn your credit cards and wear high heels, asylum doors stand open, fill the suburbs with murder and rape, divine madness, let there be ecstasy in the streets, laugh, and the world laughs with you.
Two-Face. Mr. Apollo. I am a lawyer. Mr. Dionysus. I am a liar. Yes. No. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice. We, the scarred victims of history of evil and hypocrisy, exalt criminals to office. Ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Vietnam, El Salvador, Chile, with lovely missiles, roaring bombs of the rich and the white and the pious, and burn children and torture women forever and ever. Amen. God bless America. Maxie Zeus. It's hard to think with a head full of rain. They have nailed me to the cross. Oak, and when I walk, I drag it behind me. I am the electric Messiah, the descender, locked away in this dark room, in this dark century. They have maimed and imprisoned the divine King. Is it any wonder the world sickens and dies?
Mad Hatter. I should say I am very much cleverer than any of the people who put me here. As a matter of fact, I could leave any time I wanted. It's only a doll's house after all. Anyway, I don't mind. I like dolls. Particularly the live ones.
Professor Milo. I don't know how many times I have to say this. I am sane. I am perfectly and completely sane. I shouldn't be in here at all. There's been a terrible mistake.
At this time period, certain Batman comics and others were published without them specifically being canon or not, like this and The Killing Joke, until the editors saw how fans reacted and only then decided what to adopt into canon. I'd say the biggest thing this book did was to redefine the Joker in a similar fashion, to present a new side of him with more nuanced feelings toward Batman than simple hatred or fear, but rather a sort of kinship. I like that he was happy to be the master of ceremonies here and simply shepherd Batman in and out. He didn't really have a big play of his own. He was willing to let nature take its course and let the chips fall where they may. In the beginning and ending of Alan Moore's Killing Joke, which watch the animated film if you must, but skip all the Batgirl intro, trust me. Published the year before this, in 1988, Batman tries to extend a hand of truth to the Joker, inviting him to sanity and reality, and I like to think of this book as his matching response, inviting the Batman instead to join him in madness and chaos. In the end, Batman proved that his will and his sanity are strong enough to bear the burden of being a little bit mad and being the Batman, which is just as much a compulsion for him as all of Arkham's residents' patterns are for them. But he proved that he is better, that his dedication to justice and the protection of life are such a noble goal that the sacrifice of his body, and perhaps even his life, is justified, and should not be considered an act of insanity. But then all these decisions are really up to you to make as the reader or viewer, and if you had a different take on it, I'd actually love to hear about it in the comments. Like all art, this is open to interpretation, and I've only tried to give you my take on it here. Until next time, happy Halloween, and thanks for watching.